Welcome back. Here we are, the Gill Athletics Track and Field Connections podcast. We're blazing through season 5 here. We're at probably about the end of May when this publishes. So we're getting close to half the year. It always amazes me how fast, but yet, every day is still 24 hours, how fast things go. But I think it goes a little faster for me because I get to have these amazing conversations weekly with great coaches from around the country, but even around the world. So today, this is fun. I don't know a lot of people. Most of the coaches that I know when they became coaches. There's really a handful of really and we'll talk about this in today's story, but when I become friends or an acquaintance with an athlete, it tells me a lot about the athlete because I'm no one to an athlete, right? To coaches, I work hand in hand with coaches every day. So there's a lot of rapport and stuff with coaches, but athlete, I'm not a coach anymore. I don't sell directly to athletes, right? I work with coaches. So every once in a while, and it's happened a couple of times, and this might've been the first one, an athlete and I, because, that we'll follow on Twitter or something like that. We'll just vibe. And then maybe somehow we'll luckily meet at a meet or something like that. And it's kind of like just instant cool with each other. And that's kind of the story today. So let's get into it. Help me welcome the assistant coach from New Mexico Junior College. We're going to talk about Hobbs, New Mexico too, by the way. There's no way we're not. Help me welcome the wise, the wonderful Mr. Tabarie Henry. Tabarie, how are you, sir?
Appreciate you, big man. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. It is, it's hard not to call you a kid. And I mean that respectfully because I met you as a kid, as a college kid. So I had to be careful with you. It's like, no, you're a grown man. You're an adult. You're a sir, for me growing up in the South, that's how, guys and gals are. You're sirs and ma'ams. But with you, my man, it is an interesting story with you and I just love it. I just absolutely love it. Love it. Love it.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Appreciate all the love. I remember the story. I think it was my last meet, I believe. We was heading back and I caught you in the airport and you gave me a card and it's like, anytime you want to work, just call me.
That's right. That's right. It's weird how, this is why, well, let's just get right into how you and I met. So this is why I truly love and am an advocate for social media. I know there's a lot of negatives in social media, but I think there's a lot of negatives in everything. There's negatives in TV, movies, heck, the old dial telephones. There was I used to make, this is a self-admit, I think. I used to make prank calls when I was in high school. There was negative in those old devices, right? And so I like to focus on the positive. And so, Tabar, you were at A&M.
Yep.
And it's funny, I don't know if people catch on to this or not. So, and actually, it's funny, back then, me on Twitter was a whole different where I am today on Twitter. I have 14,000 followers. I send a bazillion tweets seemingly every day, but throughout the year, I send I shouldn't say 100, thousands and thousands of tweets. Back then I didn't, and I make a rule for me. I only follow humans and I only follow coaches. So I don't follow, like in your case here, we'll use the Texas A&M case. I don't follow the Texas A&M cross country track Twitter account. It's not, I know there's a human behind it, but that's not a human. They're speaking as the program. So that's not me. Right. And I don't follow athletes. Now, these people, like a Texas A&M track and field may follow me, and athletes may follow me, and that's cool, and I'll be positive towards them. But I don't follow athletes because I don't serve athletes. I serve athletes through coaches. So I don't serve. So I don't know how you and I started connecting through Twitter, because maybe I changed, but maybe I was following you back then. And maybe because you and I became cool, I did follow you, but I'm sure you did something cool. You ran fast, and I probably said, "Hey, that's awesome, man. Congrats." Or, "Hey, I love PR." So I probably said, "Hey, man, PRs are pretty special. That's awesome. Congrats to you and coach," because it doesn't happen without a coach. And I think the first time we met, maybe the airport is the first one, so maybe it's the second one, was at Drake, and it must have been at Nationals, because you didn't go to Drake. Texas A&M didn't go to Drake, so it must have been Nationals at Drake. And I think I was tweeting. I didn't realize you were not even 30 feet up and to my right in the stands. I tweeted and said, "Hey man, good luck today," or something like that. And you're like, "Oh, you're here?" And we were like, "Oh yeah." And we turned around. It's like, "Oh crap, there he is, man. It's so cool." And what's been cool about you, Tabarie, it's one thing to kind of fanboy over an athlete. And we're going to get a little bit into, some of your accolades, and you certainly were, you were awesome, my man. So it's one thing to fanboy over that, because I love track, because I love fast people and things like that, and the really amazing things that athletes do. But it's been cool to see your transition from athlete to coach and what you're doing in your career and what you're doing today. That's been the cool part to me. It's like, oh, I knew 21-year-old kid Tabarie, and now it's like, oh yeah, no, I know Coach Henry and the things that you're doing. And that to me is the real cool
That's
part.
crazy.
It really is, man. Because the vast majority of athletes, the vast majority of your athletes, even as good as the athletes you coach and have coached, 99% of them are not going to go on to become pro. 99.9%, just so impossible really to go pro, right? But 100% of those kids are going to go on to be moms and dads and business owners and teachers and coaches and things like that. So for you to see you go into coaching and really excel and have fun with it, I've seen you coach at a meet now and you have fun with it. That's what's special to me. That's what's cool, that I got to know, young 20-year-old Tabarie, and he becomes Coach Henry. That to me, that's the kind of thing that kind of gives me, I probably have never spoken this out loud. Maybe this is kind of subconscious. That's the kind of reason why I wanted to start a podcast like this. So I get to know you, but there's hundreds and thousands of coaches out there that are very similar, that, ran track, became coach, and that journey from I'm an athlete to now I'm the coach. That's special to me, man. That's really cool, man. So long story to say, I love you to death, man. I'm so glad for who you are, who you've become, and who you're going to continue to be, man. So
I'm not gonna lie to you, like out of all the people like I follow and I come across, you always been a genuine fan. You've been a supporter of mine from day one. Even when I was at Hawkeye or when I was doing my speed is booming stuff, you always
right.
retweet, like my stuff. So you're generally one of the true ones that I can call a supporter or or friend.
That's right. That's right, baby. Yeah. It's a low bar, but high bar for me. If you're a track coach, that's a low bar. You're a track coach, boom, I'm automatically in love with you, bro. I just love you. It's also a high bar because it's like, bro, you got to be a track coach. And that's hard, man. So just so grateful for you. All right, man, that's enough of my talking. Let's get into your journey. Now, we want to focus on how you got into coaching and the mentors along the way. However, it would be a disservice for people listening to not do a little bit about your background in track and field, because you ran at such a high level. So let's start with, how did you get into track? Where did that start, and why track versus maybe other sport? Because you were very athletic, so I have to imagine maybe some other sports could have played into your story.
So in high school, I started real late because I used to just like hang out with my friends. We used to just hang out, drive around, go to the mall, go to the movies. And then after a while, I just got tired of doing that. And I was like, I want to do something. So about my 10th grade year, I played football a little bit. I didn't like getting hit. I didn't like getting yelled at. I didn't like that kind of stuff. So I played a little bit of football. I actually played with Antonio Brown. A lot of people don't know that.
Oh, yeah. Really?
Played quarterback.
So where did you grow up?
I grew up in Miami.
Okay. I just have the islands in my head.
No, I mean,
but I did know Miami though. Okay.
Yeah. I was born in the Virgin Islands, left pretty early, came over to the States, and we lived in Miami. So
okay,
yeah.
Cool. All right. So you played with Antonio Brown.
Yeah. Played quarterback. Wow. Yeah. Ah. So, but that didn't go too long for me. And then I didn't like being at home. I didn't like doing chores. So my mom was like, either you work, you do a sport, or you go to school. So I was like, I'm gonna try track. So on an announcement one day, they was just calling out, hey, we got track tryouts. And I was like, I think I'm fast. So went out there, and Coach Brown, Shelton Brown, one of my mentors, he saw me. I was in the back hanging out with people in the back, and he was just like, man, I never forget. He said, man, you don't belong in the back. You belong up front with the Stallions, whatever. And I was like, what is this dude talking about, man? I'm just out here just because I don't want to be home. So ended up getting a good relationship with him. He developed me through my 10th and 11th grade year. I hated it because we had to do cross country. We had to do long run hills, and I just hated it. So, but after a while, I figured him out. I figured out what he was pushing me for, and I put it all together. And from my 10th to my 11th grade year, I just dropped dramatically. I went from like 54 to like 48 in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
And then my senior year, I went from like 48 to 46. So I was like number 2 in the country, right behind Calvin Smith. So
yeah.
And after that, I just didn't have the grades. I was a knucklehead in high school. So
I'm glad you said that. I was going to ask, because I'm always curious with real high level athletes. And, we'll get to your actual PR here in a little bit. We already know you're at 46 as a senior. That's enough right there, right? We know what kind of athlete is. I always wonder if a kid like you, when they first start track in this example, like, day one, the first meet you go to and you run 48, or do you talked about you ran 54. That's what I love, because there's plenty of coaches out there that are coaching 54-second kids right now. It's like, they're 54, maybe they need to run cross country or whatever. It's like, oh man, develop, if God given the ability, it's in there, you got to now coach it out. And so you started as a 54 and go to 48. Holy cow.
Yeah, 48. Because like I said, I just bought in, and I was just like, man, this guy's always screaming and yelling at me. Let me just stop doing what he, and do what he tell me to do. So it finally like clicked.
Yeah.
And once I started getting the success, I just got thirsty for it.
Yeah.
When you scream for power, you want to achieve more. So I just kept doing it and kept doing it, kept listening, and I just kept getting better.
And you said Sheldon Brown?
Sheldon Brown, yeah.
Shout out to him, because he first of all, he saw this is the superpower of a coach to me. There's a lot of superpowers: the humility, the learning, the coaching, the not giving up on kids. To me, I define all of that as the superpower of a coach is the ability to see something in others before they can see it in themselves. Yeah. So when he came to you and said, "Hey, you deserve to be up front. Like not you deserve, you belong in the front." Like that says like he saw something in you, man. Yeah. Even as you're running 54, he could have been like, "Oh man, I thought he was a stallion. He's a Clydesdale. Yeah, he needs to be." We figure out something else. But instead, he saw something in you and didn't give up. And there's probably some days where you quit on a workout and it's like, oh man, just got to keep at this kid. Got to keep at him. And you kept at it as well. And look what it produced. That's really cool. I love that. So again, I love your story so much as a former junior college coach. So you self-professed knucklehead, weren't doing the grades very well. So what does a 46-second quarter miler do with not the greatest grades?
Man, we was looking all over the country for a school. We was like D2s, D3, like we was emailing everybody. And then I had an opportunity to go to Albany State for a semester. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And it just didn't work out. I was just doing the bad things like partying, smoking. It was HBCU. So, and I was away from my family for the first time. I was 18 and I was just acting crazy. And my stepdad that passed away of COVID about 2 years ago, he called me. He was like, "You coming home?" They came up and got me. I wasn't running fast. I wasn't doing nothing but just partying. I was running like 47 seconds. They came up and got me. And that summer I trained with Sheldon Brown again. And then he found me a junior college. That's when I called South Plains first. They didn't answer. They met. I could have went to South Plains. They did not answer the phone. They did. So I blame Blaine Wiley, because I called his cell phone. I called his office phone. He did not answer. And then I called Matt Kane. He didn't answer, but I left a message. He called me back right away. But since I was my brother's keeper, my cousin Romero, I wanted him to come with me. So I convinced him to take Romero. I was like, I'm not coming unless Romero comes with me, because I wanted him out of the streets too, because he's a knucklehead too. So I told him I'm not coming unless Romero comes with me. So he pieced together a scholarship for Romero, and he came up with me. So and I was not going to go to school without going to school with my cousin. So that was my top priority, to get him in school with me.
How did you? It's interesting. You said, we were looking for something, there's not a lot of, there's concentrations of junior colleges, right? Kansas, where you ended up, there's a lot of junior colleges there. California has a lot. There's a couple now in Texas, but in Florida, and I'm sure someone's going to tweet me. I can't think of any, and certainly there has not been any traditionally. A long time ago, there was Miami-Dade Community College had a program long time ago. Now, like it was a long time ago when I coached junior college. It was a long time before that. And what year was it? What year did you graduate high school?
I graduated in 06.
So 06. The internet's out there, but it's not like it is today even.
Yeah, it was not even close.
So it's still hard to find people and get their numbers or their emails and have an email and things like that. Yeah. Do you give Blaine some crap today?
Yeah, I do all the time.
Okay, good. All right, just want to make sure.
So I tell him all the time, I say, dude, if you answered that phone, I'd have been at South Plains, man.
But you go with a really good friend of mine. A little bit of a shame that I haven't had him on the podcast yet. You go with Matt Kane, with your cousin, by the way, which I just learned that today, that this was his cousin Romero, doing big things with Coach Jenkins down at South Florida. They are doing
They turned it up.
Oh my gosh, amazing. We're just coming off the Penn relays where they won the 4x1, won the 4x2, and we're second in the 4x4, I think it
Yep,
was.
turned it up.
Quite, you know, I've had Eric on the show before. Had no doubts what he was going to do. I don't know. I need to talk to him now. Like, is it on his plan or is it a little bit behind or a little like where is he at on his plan? But they're doing a great job. Miro, all those guys down there are doing a great job. So you go, Matt Cain. He's at Barton Community College. Yeah. How? So you're in. This is always amazing to me because I used to coach JUCO in Kansas, and all of them are in just the smallest of towns. You're coming from, yeah, I can already see it in the face. You're coming from Miami. How did you like Great Bend, Kansas?
I wish I could swear on here. I hated Great Bend. I truly hated that place. Like, hated that place. But
what did you hate about it? That was, you know, it was smaller than your neighborhood in Miami, or you know, it's West Kansas. There is nothing. I'm sorry, guys that live in West Kansas. There's nothing to do there in relationship to comparison here to Miami.
I can live anywhere as long as I have Wi-Fi and a movie theater. But like, it was just, I don't know. It was coming from Miami. It was just a culture shock.
Sure.
It was cold. It was stink because it was just like maybe south or north. I'm assuming it was south of like a slaughterhouse maybe or something like that. And every morning we catch that wind of just the manure and just the imagine going to class 7 o'clock in the morning. It's like 5 degrees and all you smell is cow manure, man. It was just awful. It was awful. It was just I could smell it now. It's just terrible.
And it's one thing to, you know, you paint a great picture there, but it's another thing that when your alternative is, you know, you're used to smelling the salt water off of the beach, and you know, there's not one movie theater, there's 10 movie theaters for you to choose from, and here you are. And I've been on campus. I mean, it's in the wind. Oh my gosh, the weather. Yeah, it's pretty tough. So did that make you buckle down and realize, oh crap, I better do my thing so I can get out of here, or this is going to be my turn, you know, this will be my life, or did it make you seem to, I don't want to say resentful, but you also seem to like not really like that area either, which by the way, you live in Hobbs, New Mexico. Let's temper down on Great Bend. I just thought about that.
It's terrible here too, but the first day I stepped on campus, you know, just seeing all the, you know, athletes, like, you know, when you meet the athletes, they're telling you they PRs. I'm sure some of them are lying, but I'm just like, what the heck? Got 246 guys right here. We got a 47 guy right there. Got a 21 little guy right here.
So you didn't even know before coming in?
No, I didn't know none of these people. Like,
wow.
I just showed up on campus. Me and my cousin, we just drove up, and all these kids just calling out their PRs, and I'm sitting there like, dude, I ran 46.5. Like, do I like? Oh, let me tighten up. So,
wow.
it was just like the aura, I guess, like athletes just, you know, boasting their chest, saying who they are and what they're doing. And I just locked in right away. You know, I just like, I gotta beat these people. Like, I'm just super competitive. Like,
Yeah.
that's one thing about me. I'm ultra competitive. Like, so I just didn't want to lose. Like, every rep, everything I did, I just wanted to beat people. That was my whole goal at Barton, you know. And I had Matt Cain. He was a great coach. Oh, he didn't play. So I knew I was not intimidated by him, but I just didn't want to get in trouble by him or let him down. So that was another reason why I just locked in right away.
Yeah, he might be. I messaged him on Instagram the other day because he had another hurdler do unbelievable there at Florida State, and I go, "Are you the most underrated, unknown hurdle coach in the world?" You know, and it's not just Trey. You know, obviously now he's getting some fame because of what, you know, Trey has done there under his tutelage, but it goes back to when he was there with you guys. I can't remember the hurdler's name.
Ryan Brathwaite. Yeah, he knows his sticks.
Brathwaite, that's right.
Knows his sticks.
Yeah.
The one thing about Coach Kane, you know them sticks.
Yeah. And he's coached many sprinters too, but just in the hurdle side right now, it's just like, man, I kind of wonder if like no one really knows the people he's produced. So how was it, you know, I love Matt Cain to death, a great friend of mine. How was it as an athlete for him? You talked about him knowing his stuff and, you know, he didn't play. Was it, what type of, let me ask you this way, for you, at least your experience, what type of coach was he to you? Was he the yeller? Was he the counselor, the guy, you know, put his arm around your shoulders and say, hey, it's going to be okay? Tell me, because Matt is such a great guy, but a little bit what you described about yourself, ultra competitive, that's how I would describe Matt as well.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
He never yelled at me
Mhm.
because I didn't put myself in situations to get yelled at.
Mm.
Because I not want to say I feared him, I just respected him so
Mhm.
much to disappoint him. So he was a great mentor. He always had confidence in me. Like sometimes I'd be like, man, coach, I don't feel ready. And he'll tell me how ready I am. He'll set in place workouts where I knew I was ready to run because he was a math wizard.
Mhm. Mhm.
Like he knows his numbers. Like say if I do a fast 350 in practice, he was like, man, you about to run 44, you about to run 45. So like he knew exactly what I can run. So it was just fun hearing him say, hey, you about to run this today. And I'll go out there and run it.
Mm.
Just like so he just embedded so much confidence in me. He was a good motivator. Um, Came over his house to eat all the time. He was just a great coach. He
Yeah.
looked out for me. He looked out for
Cool.
me and my family, actually, me and my cousin. He looked out for both of us.
Yeah. Where are you academically and like thinking about the future? What are you thinking about becoming a business owner, a teacher? Where are you? What's in your mind as far as a career as a freshman, sophomore there?
There, man, I was just having fun. I'm not gonna lie
Okay,
to you.
that's
I
fair.
was, I didn't have no goals on that. I just wanted to run fast and beat people.
Hmm.
That's all I wanted to do. The day I stepped on campus, I wanted to be one of the best junior college athletes ever out of Miami. I wanted them to just make my family proud and just beat people. That I swear to you, that's all I wanted to do.
Yeah,
And then my first year, I was just beating people left and right. Like
yeah,
demolishing kids, like D1 kids. I just didn't care who you were. And I had a lot on my shoulders. Like a lot of coaches said I wasn't worth the full. I'm not gonna say no names.
sure.
They're down in Florida. But a lot of coaches just is like, you're not worth it. You only
Yeah,
ran this. And I'm just like, I'm beating your number one guy every time I step on the track. So I just had a chip on my shoulder the whole time.
yeah. I have maybe we're going to bounce around her a little bit, because now you have a career as a track coach and as a college track coach. When I hear stories like that, and by the way, completely from the outside, right? Because no one ever said that I wasn't worth a full because I was no good at all. So I wasn't worth a penny. It's easy to hindsight's 2020 to see and know what your career ended up being, to say, oh my gosh, how did not every college in the country not offer him a full ride? But I have a lot of empathy because we typically only hear that when it's wrong. However, that type of coach was also right 100 times. Like there were plenty of people that, hey, I just can't give you a full,
Yeah.
right now you're worth 50 or whatever. And
Yeah.
that kid ended up not being, whatever worth the full is, that worth the full is a whole different definition for every school, by the way. Some people say, worth the full is only if you're a national champion. That's a very small select schools, I would think. But so I have a lot of empathy for that, but I also have an understanding of a 20-year-old kid saying, well, okay, well, I'll put that chip on my shoulder then, and I'll show you. And maybe
Yeah.
that's what you needed at that age too, by the way. Maybe if
Mhm.
everybody was offering you a full, you'd be like, all right, I don't need to press so hard. I
Mhm.
already got the full. Who knows? So I have a lot of
Well,
empathy for that kind of thing.
well, in those coaches' defense, I only ran 47.1 at the time. That was
Yeah.
at the state. So
Yeah.
I take that back. I
Yeah.
only had 47.1 at the time.
Yeah.
But my coach was saying, hey, this kid can run 46. This kid going to run 46.
Yeah.
And the coach was like, I'm a coach now, so I get it. Like,
I was
coach,
going to say, how many times does that happen to you
yeah,
though?
yeah, plenty times,
I mean,
plenty
come on.
times.
I'm not a coach, and I get kids that hit me up in my DM saying, hey, I've run 51, but I'm going to run 47.
Yeah,
Help me. And it's like, okay, you might, by the way, I don't take that away. You might do that, but right now
yeah,
you're 51, and that's what everybody has to judge you on. This sport is a very judgy sport in that sense of like, hey, it's easy to judge because it's on the paper.
yeah.
Let's talk about other things. What are you doing training wise? So maybe you can get better there, but still
Mhm.
40, when you're talking about you're running 47, which that again, this many people have run 47, honestly, to run faster than that fraternity gets real low. So really the audacity of a kid to say, oh yeah, I'm going to run 45. It's like, bro, 100 people have run 45 in this world. What do you
Yeah,
mean?
yeah,
And some do, and most don't, so I have a lot of empathy when I hear that kind of thing. I'm always, because I'm going to defend a coach to the day I die. I'm always like, yeah, but that coach was right 100 times. I understand they were wrong with you, but they were
mhm,
right 100 times and saved a lot of money, heartache, etc.
yeah.
Okay. So you're just beating people left and right at Barton. You seem to have locked in. You're starting to understand. Okay, I got to stop doing the things that are going to get me in trouble. I got to buckle down. I assume that means grades started
Yeah.
picking up a little bit better.
Oh, I had no issues, and I had like over 3.0. Like
Nice.
I made sure I was in class every day.
Yeah.
I just was with the tutors. Barton did a great job with the resources they had at the time. So I took
So
my academic serious there.
So what changed for you? There's a kid right now listening. We have a pretty good little athlete audience here. There's a kid listening right now that doesn't think grades matter, or I shouldn't say that. I think all kids understand grades matter, but how much attention and time do I want to put into it is what really is what they're trying to decide. What changed for you? Was it the proverbial last chance you of Barton? Was it, boy, I've let my parents down, I've let my cousin down? Like what changed for you? You went from what'd you say, a knucklehead to now
Yeah,
you're getting a 3.0 and above. What
yeah.
changed mentally? What changed for you?
Uh, I just didn't want that feeling again from high school
Mm,
when I left high school with a 2.1, and I just didn't want that feeling again. So I made sure I stayed on top of my academics. And plus I had my cousin there. He was always on me. Like if it's one thing he wanted to do, because he wasn't running the times like I was, but he made sure that I was always good. Like he made sure I was eating. He made sure like I was staying out of trouble. Like if there was an instance where it was a fight or something, he always had my back because he had nothing to lose. So, he was just a kid that came up here to protect me. He was always my protector my whole
mhm.
life. So maybe because I didn't want to let my cousin down because
Yeah.
he was just there to protect me. So he made sure I was always, hey, get up, Tabarie, go to class, or you know, go to bed, or you got practice tomorrow. So he's always like on me. So
Hmm.
maybe because of him, I locked in as well.
That I think that's really important right there
Yeah.
because like we all have the example on the track where and I always use the quarter mile and 4x4. They run 48 seconds in the open quarter, but when they get on a relay team they split 46 or 47 low, and it's like, man, why can't you just do that in the
Mhm.
open? And I always say I think it's because instead of running for themselves like they do in the open, they're running for that team, those teammates in the
Mhm.
relay. Here, what you just described there, instead of I'm doing class or track for myself for Tabarie. My cousin care. I can't let him down, or my parents. I can't let them down. You're now competing both on the track and in the classroom for someone else. I think that's important. Having
Yeah.
someone else to care for and that cares for you. I think it's
Yeah.
vital.
Yeah. And then of course my family as well. So I
Yeah.
didn't want to let my stepdad down. He drove all the way up there and came and got me. He was just like, I'm not doing this again. So I just didn't want
Yeah.
to let my family down as well. Or Coach Kane, because he just put us his
Yeah.
all. So I didn't want to let nobody down. So I was
I,
in class today.
I think that's a secret hack to life is doing something for other people. But I tell you what, my life got more enriched the more I dug in for coaches instead of just doing it for me and my career here. Now what I do is, everything is reflective of me doing it for coaches. My life has gotten a ton better, happier, et cetera. I'm doing it for somebody else, not just for myself. I think that's a real, like I'm gonna use that example when kids ask me about stuff. It's like, hey, so who do you run track for?
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, myself. It's like, yeah, you're going to struggle until you find out you need to be doing this for someone else. That for could be family, coaches, your higher power. But I think living for someone else, doing for something else, I think it's what makes successful marriages, relationships, etc. It's really interesting to me. Okay, things are turning around for you academically. They continue to move forward athletically. You end up getting your degree from Barton. You have a lot of choices. There's a lot of, I'm
Oh,
assuming,
yeah.
full rides coming now. Where'd you pick? Why did you pick it? And again, where was academics as far as a major or career when you decided where you're going to go?
I didn't. I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't the best in school. Like I tried my best,
Mhm.
so I wasn't say I was one of the smartest kids in the world. I was
Sure.
not. So academics still wasn't like one of my top priorities. I just wanted to go somewhere that
It's
that
fair.
they wanted me. So
Mhm.
Dan Waters, he's a guru at recruiting. So Dan did everything he can to make sure I was at A&M. He came to my practices, he came to my meets, he called me, he emailed me, texted me. He just showed up to practice, hang out with me. Coach Waters, he just built a good relationship with me, and I love that man from the day he started recruiting me to now. So Coach Waters was like one of the main reasons, and plus they had a good football four at the time. I
Mhm.
think they had just won the football four the year before I came there with Justin Oliver and those guys. I think Brian Miller and
Mhm.
guys, Kyle Van Hoosen, where I think it's well, Kyle, but they had a really good football four, and I saw them on TV. I like their colors, I like their spikes. Like I kid you not, like I went there. They had good colors, good football four. I just want to go somewhere with a good football four as well.
Yeah.
They just checked all the boxes. Coach Henry was pretty cool too. He recruited me, and he spoke to me quite often. But Coach Waters was the main trigger. He recruited me hard, and he built a good relationship with me.
Yeah.
I trusted him. So
I appreciate the openness and authenticity about colors and spikes too, because again, I think we forget sometimes. I try not to push back too much, but again, on Twitter, I'll hear coaches judging kids, for why they choose places or not choose places, et cetera. And I go, we're still dealing with 18-year-old kids. And in your case, as a junior college, a 21-year-old kid, you're still kids.
yeah,
The logo does matter to you. You're a kid. The shoes, they do matter. You're a kid, you're not 30 years old deciding what house I'm going to buy. And by the way, when we buy houses, what do we think about? The color, what's the house look like, the neighborhood? It doesn't change all that much as we get older. So I love that. So, but it also struck me that you didn't say I picked them because they gave me a full ride, or I didn't pick them because they were the number one coach. Great coaches, by the way. I'm not knocking them, but you said they had a good 4x4 team. It seemed like it was important that you joined a program that you weren't going to be easily the number one guy and then go run 3:15. You wanted to run 3 flat.
Yeah. I wanted one of my goals I always wanted to run under 3 minutes. Never had the opportunity to, but I wanted to run under 3 minutes, and I think A&M had the team to do it. And just having a good 4x4 was always embedded in me from high school with Coach Brown. Got to have a 4x4. We got to end the meet beating people. So I was like, who have a 4x4 that I can beat people? I said A&M. So A&M was just stuck out to me, and of course, like I said, Coach Waters did his job. He recruited me. He did a fantastic job getting me there.
Awesome. Love that. And it's great. That's a great town, great school, huge school. So certainly couldn't be faulted for choosing that school and that program. That's for sure. And Pat Henry, come on, bro. I mean,
the GOAT.
Literally the GOAT. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So talk to us about A&M. This is where you and I meet. I don't think we met when you're at Barton.
No, we didn't.
I think, you know what it was? Now that I think about this, because you're with Matt, and Matt and I, we've been friends for a long, since, we were both in the junior college game down in Kansas. I bet, because he had a year where 3 kids medaled at Worlds.
That was my year, but I got 4.
No. You were the one, because I remember we talked about this. It's like, yeah, and he got 4. It's like, holy crap, I almost did, he already did the impossible with how many kids he had did, and it almost made it more impossible. Yeah, so I think it was more like he and I were talking about you and Brathwaite, and I can't remember the other guys.
Alonzo
Edwards. Yeah. So we were already kind of talking about you. So I probably on Twitter saw something. And I was like, hey man, I'm real good friends with your coach. And that's probably how it kind of started. It always revolves around a coach. All right. You're at A&M. You're doing great. You guys are doing great in the 4x4 because A&M always, even on quote unquote down years, you have a great 4x4 there at A&M. What did you end up getting your degree in? And somewhere, although you had a post-collegiate career. So, okay. So what did you get your degree in, and what did you do after you got your degree, after eligibility was up?
Well, shoot, my degree was in leadership and a minor in sports management. I went professional right after my last race. So,
Why did you pick that as a major? That's a very A&M major, by the way, leadership, with the court esprit and all that. It's just funny that they have a major there. Why that?
Well, because of the academic standards, it was hard to get into anything else there, to be honest with you. And it's hard for junior colleges to get into those programs. You got to start off straight as a freshman and get accepted into those programs. So that's probably the most likely major a lot of junior colleges have to get into. Fair enough from the school. That's the academic policy. So
yeah, you need a degree. In this world, you still need a degree. It almost doesn't matter what the degree in, but people really care about having a degree. So you got to get a degree. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. So you went pro, man. What's that like? That's, again, we talk about fraternities. How many people have ever run 47? That actually is a very small fraternity. How many people have run 45, even smaller? How many people go pro in track? No matter what sport, but track, come on, man. That's a handful of people. What's that like now that you don't have the team? Things change, right? You got to worry about scheduling, getting yourself to meets, physio. Maybe you stayed at A&M and got some support there, but it's not the same as being on the team. What was that transition like?
It was hard. It was hard, but it wasn't hard for me because I had the right people around me. I had I have Wallace Spearman there. I had Aries Merritt there. I had Muna Lee there. I had just all kind of pros there. I had Ali and Francique was there. So I had a good support system around me. I had Saul was the trainer there. He took care of me. So man, I had just a great support system there. I was not going to fail there with the support system I had, to be honest with you. It was hard, of course, because I was on my own.
Yeah.
But I had just like I said, I had those people around me to just guide me. So I had
How,
the right people.
how do you transition from, I'm an Aggie. We're going to the SEC meet. We're gonna try to win. Then we're gonna go to nationals. We're trying to win either the team title or the 4x4 title. Like we
Mhm.
to, well, now it's you. What are you gonna go do at this meet? What are you gonna do to make the world champs team? It's on you. It's no longer we. It's you.
Yeah. Just had a plan with Coach Henry. We picked and choose our meets. I had a great agent, Paul Doyle.
Hmm.
So he just always put me in a good situation. I had camps that I went over to overseas. I just had the right people in my corner the whole time. Not saying it wasn't hard, but I mean it wasn't easy. It was hard, but
Yeah.
I just had the right people to help me. To be honest, with
Support.
you. I had the great support system. I
Yeah.
had Bertrand Jackson. I just had great people around me to support me. So they tell me who to go to for physio, how much to spend,
Right.
what meets not to go to, what meets to go to, how to talk to your agent, what not to say to your agent, what to talk to these. Like I just had the right people around me.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so important, right? I mean, it's just like family. I mean, it's support. It really is. How did this is a part I don't know about. We've had Paul on the podcast before to talk about the American Track League. Love him, love what he does, and not only as an agent, but what he does for our sport.
Mhm.
How did you pick Paul? Like, I don't even know. Like, is it like the recruiting process all over again, or is it more of like, oh well, and I don't know if this is true, but Aris and Muna, they have him, so they trust him. I'll just sign with him. How do you actually vet that part out?
Yeah, that was a hard choice on
Hmm.
agents. Like again, like you said, it's like a recruiting process over. They wine and dine you. They tell
Hmm.
you they can get you this, get you that. What um, Paul was just always genuine. He told me the truth. I met him at Worlds in '09. Because Coach Kane was working with another agent, and I mean they was in talks, but I always had Paul, in my corner talking to me and telling me, he can do this and do that, and everything checked out. So
Hmm.
um, it was just a good connection with me and Paul.
Yeah, he's a good dude. I could see that. I just always wondered, like, with him and some of the other guys, it's like, I don't know. There has to be some separation because it happens in college, right? Because again, everybody and their brother was recruiting you out of Barton,
Yeah.
but something separated itself. Dan separated himself in Texas A&M for you, so there has to be like, all this recruiting, and then something has to be like, all right, I trust this guy or gal, or
Mhm.
not that you don't necessarily trust someone else, but it's like, oh, I trust this person, and it's different because when you trust the Dan Waters at Texas A&M, it's like, oh, I'm getting a scholarship. When you trust an agent, you're trusting them with your dollars. That's a
Yeah.
whole, that's different to me. That's just, that's my actual tangible dollars that I'm trusting this person with.
Yeah.
That's
And
amazing.
yeah.
All right, give us some highlights of your professional career, and then did it, how did you decide for it to end? And what did you decide to do? How did you get into the quote unquote real world, no longer gallivanting around the world, running one lap at a time?
My greatest highlight, I don't know. My last year, I was collegiate leader and I didn't make a final. And then I turned around a month later and made a world final. So that probably was my biggest
That's
highlight.
right. I forgot about that.
But to not make the NCAA final and then turn around and make the biggest final of the year. That just showed my determination.
Hmm.
I don't know. I just had a lot on my mind at that race. I don't. It was just I don't know. That was a bad race. But I got thinking. I got my stuff together, and I just like again. I locked in for the last couple of months, and I was just determined to make another final.
Hmm.
I think that year I was probably me and LaShawn was the only two that made a back-to-back final that year, coming from '09, well '08, and then '09 or whatever.
Yeah.
I made Olympic. No, I can't remember, but I made back-to-back finals or 1 year or something like that. But yeah, that was probably one of my greatest highlights. Not making NCAA final and turn around. And
That's crazy.
I was so excited that day. Never forget that day.
What kind of PRs did you end up with?
JUCO ran 44.7, and then at A&M, I ended up running 44.8. I ran 44 a couple more times on the circuits. I had a PR of 2071, 107 in the 600.
Yeah.
Probably one of my favorite ones right there. Something like that. So
My favorite question I had, we had Jeremy Warner on the show, and all through the message boards on the internet, it's like he would have been the world's greatest 800-meter runner. You mentioned the 600. Did you ever try the 800?
yeah, I tried 800 a few times. 153 low,
Yeah.
but crazy fact. If I had never ran an 800 at A&M, I think I'd have still been running to today, because I ran the 800 just for practice, and I think I strained my soleus. And ever since that day, my Achilles was never right after that. So if I had never ran the 800 that day, I swear I'd have still been running to today, because I just had great work ethics, and I just had that moment, that meet just messed me up the rest of my career.
So your PSA to young kids, if you're a 400-meter runner, don't run the 800 at all.
No, not say that.
That's the coach in you right now going, no.
It just, if I never ran the 800 that day, maybe if I had run the 200 or the 400, I probably messed up my stolius. But
yeah, right.
I never forget, I was on my second lap. I just felt something pop in my lower leg, and I'm just like, oh. I was like, after that day, my Achilles never was right. So that's the same injury that Porzingis got right now, and that's what KD had, and it really trickles down to the Achilles, and my Achilles was like that big for the rest of my career. Yeah, it was bad.
Dude,
after that day. So
as
I remember running 100 that day.
As someone who has Achilles problems in both, I can sympathize, because, oh my God, if your Achilles ain't right, you can't do jack, man. You're trying to run 46, 45, 44. You're trying to run stupid fast. I can't walk sometimes. It's so bad. That's crazy, man.
That's amazing. PR now too.
That's what when people talk about athletes and they're running, and I'm talking about from, if that 54-second quarter mile are trying to make them a 50-second, they talk about, well, they would just do the X, Y, and Z. There's some luck that is involved in this, meaning, like, what would you got unlucky that this happened. And I love your perspective there about, hey, by the way, if I'd have ran the 2 or the 4 that meet, it also still could have happened. Like, you don't have this like Pollyannish thought of like, oh man, if I just ran the 2 and the 4, I'd have run 43 one day. You understand, like, hey man, this might have going to happen no matter what I did that day. I could have been walking to my dorm room and it could have happened, for crying out loud. So I love that realism that you have there. But man, you got to be super lucky throughout your athletic career. First of all, you have to have the natural genetics to do it. Second of all, you got to match up with a coach or coaches that do right with you, and includes your whole group of the physio, etc. Your mindset. 3, you got to not get injured, and sometimes you get injured through zero fault of your own, for crying out loud. It's really amazing. So yeah, go ahead.
And you said something. You said something about genetics. I tell these people a lot. Like, they don't believe me. Like, I wasn't crazy talented like most of these. Like a Michael Norman. Like, didn't have those numbers coming out. But one thing about me, I worked hard. So like, it's like different levels. Like I feel like, yes, I was blessed, but like, I worked harder. I had to work harder than Michael Norman. Not saying he don't work hard, but look at his numbers compared to like my numbers out of high school.
Right.
Like, he was exceptional. Karani was exceptional. These kids was exceptional now. Like the new kid that's running now,
Quincy.
Like, I wasn't doing that in high school. I was just working my tail off in high school to get to where I was. And every day I worked hard. So yeah, I had a great career. Yeah, I had maybe some genetics in there, but nobody in my family ran track or did anything athletically. So I just worked harder than everybody. I outworked people 9 out of 10 times. So I think that's how it would bless me in my career. Not saying, I mean, a lot of people are like, man, shut up. You was talented. You ran 46. You ran 44. I'm like, man, I had to work for that. Like, I had to like grind it out and grind compared to these kids that's running 20.1s in high school. And I envy those type of kids. I even envy the kids I coach now, because they're just so talented, and they're just practice. I'm like, I wasn't doing none of this.
All right.
I wasn't running 20 points in practice and 45 in practice like y'all. Like I was running 48s in practice and 49s. Like I'm just envy these kids, but
It,
you know,
it
I just worked hard.
it's a weird combination. It's almost like, like baking a cake, the different parts that are in the recipe. Because, you've certainly seen super, super talented people that don't work hard. They don't get very far. You've seen kids who don't have the God-given talent, but man, their work ethic, they crush. They will do anything, and they don't get very far.
Right.
To get, when you start thinking about the, Michael Johnsons, Wade Van Kirk's, Jeremy Warren, the guys and gals specifically in this quarter mile area that had to run to get to run where they were running, they had to have the God-given talent and the work ethic. And that's a hard combination to actually get. So you may self-diagnose and say, yeah, I don't think I had the natural talent of like those guys, but
Yeah.
okay, then I overcompensated by I was going to be the hardest worker
Yeah.
out there. And it's like, man, sorry, if you'd have had just a little bit more genetics, no fault of your own, by the way, a little bit more genetics. Oh my gosh, you could maybe been the next 43 guy or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's rare air, right? I mean, we're talking about less than a handful of people that do that. Yeah. I always wonder about that kind of stuff, that not only those two factors, the genetics and the work ethic, but also the serendipity and luck to be in your event. So you could have, when you're in high school and had to run cross country for it, you could have had a coach that said, yeah, Tabarie, you're 54 in the quarter. Maybe we need to focus on the mile and 2 mile. And you go there and you become, maybe through your talent, you become a respectable 4:30, 10 flat guy, 4:30 mile, 10 flat, 2 mile. That's hard, by the way. That's good. Don't go to college because of grades and, who's recruiting, 10 flat 2 milers and things like that. And you're I don't know, a mechanic right now or something. I don't know that, because I'm not shading mechanics, by the way. A guy like me needs mechanics, trust me.
Yeah.
But we're not talking about a coach and, world championship experience finalist, for crying out loud. It's just interesting. We have to have the talent, the work ethic, and the luck, the serendipity to find that right lane of our talent, track in your case, and coaching in your case as well. All right. So how did you wind down a pro career? When do you know when and how do you know that this is the last
Oh,
hoorah, the last race? And how do
I
you
could
prepare for what the next week is?
I could tell you that right now.
Okay.
I told Coach, because I finished up with Coach Kane. I told Coach Kane, I literally texted him. I wonder if I still have that screenshot somewhere, but I said, the day I run 47 seconds all out, I'm done. And one of my races, I ran 47 seconds all out, like all to the line. The next day, I said, I'm done. And he was just like, okay. Like, he was like, you sure? I'm like, yeah, I'm done.
Wait. Okay. What happened? Were you injured? Was it mental? Was it, I gave it everything and that's just what the body had? And
I don't know, Mike, to be honest with you, because I was putting down some monster times in training. Like I was still training at a elite level, and then I get to meets, and it just don't click. And I'm sitting there just like, now that I'm coaching, this is like it was a mental block, I think, like a complete mental block with me, because I'll get to a point in a race and just like I blank out. Like it sounds like cliche, like I'm dead serious. Like I get to the race and just forget what to do. And that was happening like the back end of my career. Like I just lost the love of the sport. And like I commend Noah for like seeking out help. And I want everybody to go seek out help when they're in a dark, hard place. I was in a dark spot. Like I lost my contract. I was working a regular job. I was paying rent to like a guy living upstairs. Like it was rough. And like track just wasn't fun anymore to me. And like I was just in a spot like I'm burning more resources than making resources. And I just like, all right, I'm done. So I truly had a mental block. Like I think I still could have been running, because I run to now sometimes. And I'm like, I'm still doing well, not running elite times in practice, but I'm still running well. I know I have the ability and work ethics to still do it. So it's just to a point where I think I had a mental block, seriously, a mental block, and like getting through races, getting to a point of like a race, and I just can't put my feet down. I just forget what I'm doing, and it ruined the back end of my career. So go get help, talk to somebody, see a sports psychologist, and just continue to have fun with the game. If
Yeah.
not, you're gonna be miserable like I was. A lot of people didn't know that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. because I'm always fascinated with the athletic side of it. Like, when do you know, or when is it forced on you sometimes through injury or contracts, et cetera, just like you mentioned, resources. Because you don't think about that with other careers. Like now that you're a coach, Tabarie, I would never say, so Tabarie, when do you think you'll know when it's time to be done coaching? And you're like, I don't know, I'll do it until I retire. I mean,
Yeah.
I just, I'm just doing it. It's my job, right? But with athletics, it's the body sometimes that, it don't matter what you tell the body to do. The body says, no, I'm not running those times anymore, buddy. I'm too old or beat up or whatever. So it's just always interesting on the athletic side. How do you know? And then how do you run that race, that 47? So is that really your last race ever?
That was my last race. I
So
never forget.
how do you practiced all week, you went to the meet, you ran 47, and then on Monday you didn't have a meet to prepare for?
I texted him right after I ran. I was like, Coach,
Yeah.
I was like, my agreement was if I run 47 seconds, full all out, like I was trying, like I was hustling, bustling, and I 47 something. And I was just like, yeah, I'm done. Like not like jokingly, like I was professional about it. I was like, Coach, I just think I'm done.
Right.
I don't have it no more. Like, and he was just like, let's talk about it. I just figure it out. And I was, nah, I'm cool with it. I'm done. I'm back to work.
Wow.
Like I was just done. Like
Wow.
and I was at ease with it. I was just,
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't have any second thoughts. I didn't come back out there. I was just done. And then
One more try that,
uh,
yeah.
I was done. I was done. I was just burning too much resources as well, and just
Yeah.
Coach Kane's time. So I mean, he didn't
Yeah.
think I was wasting his time, but
Right.
I just didn't believe in myself no more. So
Yeah, he's the kind of guy that would have fired you if you were wasting his time.
yeah,
He'd be like,
yeah,
look, Tabarie, if you want to keep doing this, you got to go somewhere else because
yeah.
it ain't
Probably
working
want-
for me.
he probably wanted to fire me, but just the relationship we had, I was one of his OGs,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I don't think he had the guts to say, "Man, I'm done coaching you." So, but
I love it, love it. All right, so you made a deal with yourself. If I run all out, like I can't sit back and think, oh, I kind of laid off the gas. Nope, you went all out and ran a 47. So now you tell my resources. So what do you do? You're still young, man. You still got to get a job. There's no retirement from this. What do you do? What do you decide to do?
I fell back on like I wanted to step away from track for a while. Like I was just at a point I was exhausted with track,
Mm-hmm.
mentally drained from track, and I wanted to just take a break from track. So I stepped away from track for about a year, and I was just doing like not saying step away from track, but I was doing like I was working at this studio or working with kids like an after school program. But with my role, I was picking kids up and like teaching them how to run, just sports. Everything was sports: how to run, how to catch, how to shoot. Like it was just like
Where was this?
this was in Austin. I had remained in Austin
Okay.
the time when I was training, and I had just picked up a job. I met this guy named Gary Shield, and he just was fascinated about my career, and he wanted to bring me on because just I was Olympian, and he was like, "Man, I never had an Olympian work for me." He was doing like karate and kickboxing, and then I introduced him to like speed and agility. I was like, "Hey, how about we start a speed and agility program with me, and we go around and we can sell this deal." Like I had flyers, posters, and we were just using my resources on how to like get kids faster at a young age. Because like it starts, I had this amazing pitch to him. I was like, "You got to have speed in all sports." Even in jujitsu and karate. And so I was just teaching speed and agility for about a year or two. And then I met another guy in Austin, Coach Brown, one of my other mentors. And at that point, then I'll start coaching like elite athletes, like UT football players, UT basketball players, soccer players. I was just bouncing around from gym to gym teaching speed and agility. When I met Coach Brown, he put me on to like all these high clientele athletes that needed speed and agility, and it was fun, man. I was coaching Taj, I was coaching Nikhil Watts, like all these football players that moved on to the high level programs. I was coaching all these, so that was pretty fun. And then I got bored of that because it's quick. It's like you can't teach those kids get bored of that real soon, like how to get 3-point start, how to run a fast 40.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that's like a 4-week deal. Like, and then they move on, like, all right, Coach Rear, I got this much a little bit faster. I'm done. I want to move on to the next thing. So
Right.
it was fast. It was fast and it ended quick. Um, and then I was like, man, I need to get back into track. Like I miss track. So then I started teaching, hurdle stuff, block starts, I started doing personal training with a couple athletes. I had two girls that ran 400 for me. I was just coaching on just freelancing, coaching kids on the side. And I remember Tyler. Tyler had DM me one day and he was just like, "Hey man, I got this coaching job up in Iowa. You wanna?" I was like, "Shoot, yeah, why not?" And just I went up there and he gave me the opportunity. And man, Iowa was a different experience. So and then
Yeah,
from
I was going to ask. I mean, you've
oh
gotten
yeah,
a taste of it because of Great Bend.
oh my
Now you
God.
go there.
Yeah. And I had some success there with what I had, and I wasn't enjoying that at all, just because of the location I was in. Not to knock the program or Tyler, just the location I was in. It was hard for me
Mhm.
living in Iowa.
What school was that?
That was Hawkeye. I started
Yeah,
my
that's right.
Hawkeye. Um,
So that's a community college.
that was community college, yeah.
How did you? Well, I guess you don't have any experience with coaching at a 4 year, so
Mhm.
kind of 2 years. What you know of
Yeah.
freelancing, kind of bouncing around a little bit with different athletes, and now community college. That kind of just seems, as far as this segment of your life, that's okay. I get that. That's what I know.
And it's funny because a lot of people was like, "Man, you Tabarie Henry, man, you Olympian, man. Coach Henry, these guys will get you jobs." And I'm like, bro, y'all just don't imagine. Like, I tried every resource I had to get into the NCAA game, and like, I couldn't scratch it. Like, people was like, "You're Olympian, man. You'll get a job like tomorrow." And I was like, "I wish." Like, I applied to every job you could think of when I was in Austin. Nobody, like, my resume. I didn't have no resume. I didn't have no experience.
What do you think that is? 'Cause that's an interesting topic. So we had, I don't know if she overlapped with you or not. Did you have Lakedra Stewart on your
Yep,
team? Okay.
my teammate. Yep,
So we had Lakedra, who just won a state title, by the way, at the Texas
phenomenal.
State meet. She's amazing, right?
Amazing.
We had a cool conversation, and she expressed the exact same thing you said. She's like, "Man, I applied for a lot of colleges and I wasn't getting nothing." And it was interesting to me because if you read social media, you read the internet, and I know all bad things start with that sentence, start with that when you read the internet, but you hear that, oh man, if you were a good athlete, you're going to get any job you want. Oh, if you're an African American, you're going to get any job you want. And for Lakedra, if you're a female, you're going to get any job you want. And here for Lakedra, it's like, well, she checked off all three. Amazing athlete, big school, by the way. And so, whatever street cred you think that gives you, African American and female. And she's like, man, I don't know where all these people are supposed to get those jobs because no one was accepting me. And here you are, big time athlete from a big time school, African American, and where was you were beating away all the job offers. There were so many. I love busting myths. And so I hate that it happened because I wish you had gotten the jobs you wanted, but I love
Right.
busting that myth of like, no, there's a lot more that goes into it than just your skin color and how good of an athlete you were, and whether you're male or female, for crying out
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah, it was tough. It was tough, man. It was just like, man, So I said again, I had a chip on my shoulder.
I was wondering, yeah, okay.
I was like, I'm gonna prove to these people that I'm gonna be a great coach. Like, you didn't take a chance on me. I'm gonna beat you now. So I started at Hawkeye, and I was developing athletes from there. So I started from the lower the lowest, and I was just like, I'm gonna just keep working my way up without the resources I have, like without the connections I have. I'm gonna prove to people I can do it without them, without the Pat Henrys, without the Dennis Shavers, or without whoever was
Mhm.
people on my references. I was like, I'm not gonna use them. I'm gonna just get it my way. And I started from Hawkeye, and from Hawkeye, Coach Blackwell. I met Coach Blackwell, and he had a job posting, and like, now I lied now. So then my resources did help me get that job. I had a lot of people to help me get that
Sure.
Hobbs job. A lot of people called Coach Blackwell on my behalf.
Mhm.
And numerous people called Coach Blackwell, and Coach Blackwell just took a chance on me. And, I can't commend him enough on the way he developed me as a coach and a young man. And he took me under his wings from day one and taught me the game and taught me how to coach, taught me how to recruit, taught me how to do everything. He was major part of my career. Like, on the back end of my career, he just elevated me beyond my coaching career. He just taught me how to be who I am now.
I've routinely said that I'm really lucky and happy that part of my coaching journey, and so therefore my life journey, was I did a year in the junior college system, being in Chanute, Kansas at Neosho County. Part of it is just because I learned what second chances are. I learned what no resources are. You know, I learned to scrap and get it done, whether I have $1 million or $1. You know, it taught me how to figure it out. And that's why junior college to me is still, it's my favorite level. It's my favorite national meet. You know, I go there and I look at those kids, and those are kids who, you know, you're this story, needed second chances, may have needed a third, fourth chance. People didn't think they were good enough. They needed a place to develop more, prove themselves. I love that. And it's the same with the coaches. I look at these coaches and I'm like, man, when you're a high school coach, you're always working to get your kids recruited to the next level. That's hard. It really is, to have the network and the connections, and to, you know, rah your kids to try to go for this school or that school, et cetera, right? When you're a 4-year school, you're always recruiting kids to your program. That's super hard to stand out amongst all the different colleges and programs that are out there and all the different coaches to recruit kids to your program. A junior college coach, you're doing both all the time. You are constantly trying to get your sophomores on to the next level, and you're always trying to get kids to your program. If you've never coached junior college, you have no idea how hard it is. And it's hard coaching 4-year, and it's hard coaching high school. Junior college, man, it's special. So what I bring that up because you're talking about Keith and we've talked about Matt. When I talk about how special it was for me during my junior college year, I now think about it, it actually was probably the people. So that's how I met Keith when I was coaching junior college, and of course Matt, Lance Brom. I mean, just all these amazing people that came through the junior college system that helped produce guys like you. I almost said kids because forever. Guys like you. That is the real magic of coaching and the real magic of junior college coaching, man. So I absolutely love that. I love that you had and have Keith in your life to help mentor and develop you as a coach as well. All right, so you're at Hawkeye. Before we go to New Mexico real quick, I wanted to know, again, kind of a myth, or, you know, outside we can think this. It's very easy to think this. You know, Tabarie, you are a phenomenal athlete. You're running world champs, Olympics, things like that. You're hanging out with Reese Merritt and Muna Lee, you know, these superstar, you know, great people. You're at Texas A&M, big school, you know, you travel all around the country, things like that. You go to Hawkeye. I have to imagine you're probably closer to coaching that 54-second quarter miler than you are that 45-second quarter miler. Correct me where I'm wrong. How does your ego handle this? You know what I'm saying? You're used to hanging around a bunch of 45, 46-second people, and now you've got to work with that 54 person and make them a 52, a 50, etc. How does your ego handle that?
Nothing changes. I walked in the door and I just demanded excellence. Like, I'm just like, hey, I didn't see numbers then. I just wanted to get kids better. I wanted to see them smile running a second PR or something like that. So nothing changed for me. I knew where I was at, and I just wanted to get kids better. I wanted to just put smiles on kids' faces because I love running PRs when I was running. So I know how it feels. Like, just seeing that kid like run a PR and then just go ecstatic. Like, that's just my highlight of my meet or my day. So like I went into that situation like, I'm just get these kids 2 to 3 seconds better. And lo and behold, I did. Like, I had a kid go from like 54 to like 48. I had a hurdler go from like 15 to like 14 flat. And these are kids that just not picking on them. Like, they wasn't the best of the best. Like, I had girls go from like 12 sevens to 12 ones. That's huge. That's huge. And I'm excited for that. Like, it might not look pretty to other people, but I'm excited for that because it's just, these kids are happy. Like, they're happy they're running this much better. And like, I had fun. And
That's
then
cool.
so it was fun. I had the same mindset.
I love that.
Nothing changes.
I
I
love
coach
that.
in front of me. Whoever's in front of me, I coach you. I don't care if you're good or bad, because I remember when I was 54 and my coach didn't give up on me. So thanks to Shelton Brown for having that in me, like, not to give up on the kid because they're not running extremely fast. So,
you know, it's easy to say, I'll coach who's in front of me. And you tied it together really well there. You know, I don't know that Sheldon Brown, when he didn't give up on you as a 54-second quarter miler, realized his reach was going to be what it is. Those kids at Hawkeye and those kids at in Hobb, New Mexico Junior College, those are a byproduct of him, and he's a byproduct of other coaches as well. But like him not giving it, because if you're watching on YouTube, you had to go see his actual face, because it's one thing to say things. If you're listening to the podcast, you can hear it, and you can hear some tonality and excitement in his voice, but his face was, you lit up there. Like it's genuine that you're like that 12-7 kid to 12-1. It's not going to show up in nationals, but dude, that was hard. That was a good, they had to work hard for it. We had to work hard to get, that's awesome. And I agree with you so much with that. I part of my uplifting coaches philosophy is a coach who is coaching 12-7 girls to 12-1, and they think, yeah, but I'm not coaching 11-5s or 11 flats or whatever number you want to think of as elite. It's like, oh, this other, our state meet, it takes 11-7 to win. So what's a 12-1? I'm not really doing anything. It's like, bro, you are affecting that kid's life. It literally does not, I literally don't care how fast your kids run. Are you giving them a good experience? Are you helping them improve? Are you helping them to see how track is in the greater span of life? Are you being a good role model? That's what I care about. Because there's a major part of this that you have no control over, and we've talked about this a little bit, is the genetics. 12-1 might be her tap out. That may be the best God's ever going to let her be, but you helped her get to that, and that's part of the puzzle. I love that, Tabarie. I love that. So why you go from Hawkeye in Iowa, and you go to Hobbs, New Mexico Junior College with Keith. Why that doesn't necessarily stand out as and you teach us maybe where I'm wrong here, that doesn't necessarily stand out as a step up. You didn't go to 4-year, you didn't go to Division I, you didn't go, I was trying to think of a JUCO in a big city, by the way, unless you go California. I don't know there is one, but why Iowa to middle of nowhere, Texas, New Mexico, by the way?
Well, just the resources, from what Keith was telling, what they have and what they can do. They're just, I'll tell you, New Mexico got endless resources here. Like we sit on the oil, so like they never tell us no. Like, hey, I want to go over here. They'd be like, okay, how much is it gonna cost? We tell them, and they're like, okay. So like, just the resources he told me they have. That's all I needed to hear. Again, I could have coached anybody. But he already had, a great team. So it was just a plus as well. Like the kids that he had telling me he's signing and what he got on roster. And of course, I saw them at Nationals. So I'm just like, man, I'm going to be able to coach all these kids. I can't wait. So I had to up my game too, because I didn't really have that much experience. So, he always had his eyes on me at practice. Like, I'm like, dude, I think I got this over here. You don't have to keep telling me what I should be doing over here. But he after a while he just backed off, and he was just like, you got it. So it was just the relationship he had from day one with me. So
how'd you like the city of Hobbs?
Oh, it's terrible. It's terrible. It's terrible, man. But like I said, all I need is a movie theaters and Wi-Fi, man. Right now I'm sitting on my PC, I'm listening to music.
Yeah.
I play video games. I'm pretty good at video games, by the way. And I just,
what games are you playing? What are you pretty good at?
I play like PC games. Right now I'm playing For Honor. It's a fighting game. I'm really, like I said, I'm super competitive. I play 2K, Madden, whatever game that's relevant, I play. So as long as I have those, I can live anywhere, to be honest with you.
My jam for getting close to 2 years now has been Fortnite. That's my son. My son got me into it. Now I'm a quester. I cannot not let a quest go undone. I have to get on every day, finish out the quest, and then I move on with my day. It's like they'll check the box for me.
Okay, that's dope.
I love it. All right. And by the way, Hobbs, you have to have gained like 100 pounds, because some of the best food I've ever had is in Hobbs, though.
No, I mean, yeah, food is good.
It's good.
One thing about my genetics, I would say, is like I could shred weight. Like,
oh, you're one of those bastards.
Yeah, I could eat a extra large pizza, like, and probably don't even gain a pound.
For every guy like you, there's a guy like me that gains those pounds. Every pound you shred, I gain those pounds, dude.
I could like go like 2 weeks in the weight room and come out and look like jacked or cut up. Like that's one genetics I do have. Like me, I could probably never put on weight, either because I don't know, maybe because I'm stress. I don't know, but I don't know what stress feel like. But
You know,
I just don't put on weight.
you were doing such a good job of allowing people to see who you are and love you and see what a fun guy. Now everybody's like, you're just a jerk. 2 weeks and you get cut. I don't like this guy
I can
anymore.
get shredded in like 2 weeks. I swear to you.
All right. And we're going to find out you're on part 2 of Hobbs. How many years this first time were you at New Mexico Junior College?
I want to say 3.5 or
Okay.
4. One of those 3.
This feels like, from my knowledge of your career, this feels like your coming out party. This feels like, oh, okay, he has his group. He's doing a great job. You guys had a pretty fun run during that 3.5 years there.
Yeah, we did, especially on the women's side. The men was just up and coming. That was the first year the men's back.
That's right.
And COVID happened. But yeah, I had just great talent around me to work with.
How did you develop as a coach? What were you doing coaching education wise? What were you doing like how to learn recruiting? A little bit I don't want to say a little bit different recruiting, but there's different recruiting in every institution you go to. How are you developing your professionalism as a coach?
Just building relationships. Like, I know not to treat athletes like robots because again, I was an athlete, so I don't want to put athlete in that situation where they feel like robots. Like, so I'm always genuine with athletes, tell them the truth and like what I can do for them. I tell them all the time, like, I could change your life either athletically or in a real life. Like, I can get you graduated in 2 years, get you moving on to a 4 year. I could get you associates. You can get a job off of that. You go back to your island. You can work. You can go off in the States if you're from the States. Like, I just provide that intel to them, like that guidance of like what I do in my career and what I done in my career, and I just embedded that into them. Like you said, not everybody gonna go pro, but they're gonna be teachers or doctors or whatever. You don't know. So I just that part, because like you said, each school recruit differently. Like, my school only recruits internationals. Not only, but we put more into the internationals because we have resources compared to like other schools where they have to recruit US kids because they can't afford it.
Right.
So we're into the international business. Like, they call people like me a passport coach. So
I've never heard that before.
Yeah,
I'm a little surprised I haven't heard that before. Is that right?
Read the blogs, man. They call people like me passport coaches.
Is that a negative thing?
Yeah, it's a negative thing.
Or is it, at least it's meant to be a negative thing?
It's a to us.
You're a passport. I feel like I've heard everything in the coaching world. I've never heard that.
They call people like me passport coaches. People Iowa Central, Iowa Western, Barton, South Plains, like they call all those coaches passport. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. But it's cool though. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool.
It seems like you would have a lot of legitimacy at the junior college route, the way you're talking, for 2 reasons. One, you were born in another country. So, even though you grew up in Miami, there's still that like, hey, I was born in another country. And 2, you came through the junior college system. You didn't go straight from high school to the 4-year, and you really don't even know what you're talking about, what a 2-year and associate's like. No, I had to live that, by the way.
These coaches don't understand like what we're doing for these athletes. We're like my Zimbabwe boys. These guys don't have like a routine at home. They don't have a weight room. They don't have a track. We're providing so much resources to these kids, and they quick to just slander us because we taking 21, 22-year-old kids and changing their lives. Like, we're helping these kids out. Yeah, we look good coaching them. Of course, we patting our resume, sure, but the impact we're having on these kids' lives, bringing them over here and giving them a steady routine, class, meal, somewhere to sleep consistently, training, weight room. Like, they don't get those in the islands where we pulling these kids from. We're changing these kids' lives. We're not. Yeah, we're benefiting from them, of course, but they're benefiting from us as well. They're getting all the resources that we're providing for them. So it's a tug and pull there. We're helping these kids out. So these coaches, I just wanted to get on here and say that part. Like, we're helping these kids.
I'm with you 100%, because first of all, until the rule changes that no international athletes can be in NCAA or NJCAA, so we're all within the rules. We're all allowed to recruit the whole world. So therefore, it's not a violation of rules. So then I start thinking about exactly what you're talking about there. So you're giving a kid, I'm not a big border person. So I would love an 18-year-old kid from Alabama, an 20-year-old kid from Zimbabwe. That doesn't matter to me. If you're helping them get better and become better into society, cool. What's it matter? And every place is different. So if you find at Hobbs that it is better for you to recruit all internationals, and by the way, I never hear people complain about international athletes from Canada or the
Yeah.
Europeans. I only hear about the Zimbabwe's and things like that as one. So
Jamaican.
there's a little bit of underlying there that happens as well, I believe. But you're still helping people get better. And by the way, at the end of the day, your job is track coach, not life coach, even though that's a big part of coaching track. So your job is still to put the best 4 kids in the 4x4, the best 10 kids to go to nationals, whatever, to win. So, and it's still hard, whether you're getting the elites out of coming to you or developmental kids, it's still hard to coach. I laugh when people using the A&M experience when they say, oh man, A&M gets all the best kids. They don't coach. You just got to, drive the bus. And it's like, man, if you get a 10, whoever gets Quincy Wilson, he's a sophomore. So it's ludicrous to say that he's still got 2 years before he even is going to college. Whoever gets Quincy Wilson is still going to have an extremely hard job to coach him.
Thank you. Thank you. You don't understand how many nights that I stay up because I have kids that are pretty freaking good, and I got to keep them very good or get them better. When these coaches ruin kids, like great kids out of high school, like people don't talk about that. The moment if I had came here and didn't be successful, it's people, oh, he sucked, he sucked, he sucked. Like it's harder coaching people with talent than less talent.
People think when I get a bunch of 10-10 kids out of high school, first of all, there's not a bunch of them out there, but you get a 10-10 kid to your programs, like, oh, you don't have to, they'll just run 10-10. You'll run 38 point, put them all together. Taking a kid from 10-10 to 10 flat. So it's only it's only air quotes there, 0.1 improvement. That's hard.
That's hard.
That takes talent, just like it takes, to your girl 100-meter example, a 12-7 kid down to 12-1. That is also hard.
That's hard.
Both of them are extremely hard. And we have this elitism of, oh, it's easier once they're already fast.
It is not, dude. Mike, listen to me. I'm getting grades all over. Like, to keep these kids satisfied. Like, these kids are not stupid. Like, coach, what's the workout? Oh, we got this, and they want to know in details why we're doing this. Like, I'm just like, dude, trust me, I got you. Like, I'm like, just get your behind on the line and let's go. Like, these kids are smart. Like, these kids want to get better. They see what's on the internet. My quarter miler asked me just the other day, Coach, when are we doing a fast 350? And I'm just looking at him like, dude.
Yeah, how do you deal with that? Now, I'm so lucky. My last coaching was 05, Mississippi State. That was right as like Facebook had just started going to other campuses. So we really didn't have social media. We certainly didn't have cell phones like they have today. So there was less of, well, that kid's doing X, or that kid, I saw their workout at such and such university. I didn't have that really because it was harder to talk to kids around, for them to talk amongst each other. Now, Quincy does a workout. I keep using Quincy. And by the way, if we're talking about Quincy Wilson, the greatest sophomore 400-meter runner ever, maybe going to be the best. He does hold the high school indoor 400-meter national record. So he is the best high school 400-meter runner ever. Beat a former athlete of mine's record, by the way, which I love. But his coach, Joe Lee at the Bullis School, great guy. He's been on the podcast. So if you want to know, and we actually talk about this, I asked him specifically because, it's one thing to coach a great kid in high school. But this kid might be a once in a lifetime type of kid that a guy like Joe will ever coach. And Joe's a fantastic coach, but it's a special, a little nugget, right? So I asked Joe specifically, like, hey, so what's it like coaching that? That's different than even a 46 quarter miler in high school. So we talk about that. So if you're ever interested, go back, look at Joe Lee. He did a great job there on the podcast. So, what was I going to ask you? That was a bad side because now I forgot what I was asking. So how do you, okay, so you're doing well at Hobbs. You're, I feel like this is kind of your coming out party as a coach. Like I don't want to say you're legitimate now because you had coaching before. So that's a bad thing to say, but you're coaching, you're learning a lot, you're developing. I asked you how you're developing as a coach professionally. You talked about networking. Are you doing any, like, what about coaching education? You have a lot of experience of Matt Cain's and Pat Henry's coaching you, but it's different when you now got to interpret that and prescribe that out to your athletes. What are you doing coaching education? Are you doing any of the formal coaching education? Are you calling Matt Cain up and asking what are you doing there?
Man, it's funny because like you spoke about Lakeisha Stewart, and she posted something on Facebook a couple weeks ago. It's like the tree of like Pat
Oh
Henry,
yeah, yeah.
like that, and it's crazy because like like I said, I'm not gonna lie. I call Coach Kane now every now and then when I get into like a blank. I
Hmm.
don't like if something's not working, I'll reach out to Coach Kane on hurdle. Each coach I call for different
Hmm.
event.
Hmm.
If I'm in a hard spot, but like majority of my stuff, like the stuff I write out or do is just off of intuition. Kid you not, like
Hmm.
I don't put out workouts like some coaches have like a just like a micro cycle of what they're going to do from summer to whatever. I don't
Hmm.
do that.
Hmm.
Like I have a planner and like I just go in and improvise. But like I literally come to like week by week. Like the meet is over with on Saturday, Friday or Saturday.
Hmm.
On my way back home, I'm writing the workouts for Monday because what I saw from the meet.
Okay.
X, Y, and Z didn't look good in this point in the race. So let's attack this point. Like I just coach off the straight intuition
Hmm.
and like experience.
Yeah.
Like I don't really call coaches. I might see something online, like it's a copy and paste sport, you know that. So if I see something online that looks good and it fits my module of what I'm doing that week, I might steal that. I might take that. My times might not be the same, but I'm gonna steal that module and like improvising on what my team needs or my athlete needs. So it's just intuition for me.
Yeah.
Keep like so I don't really like call much coaches. If I do, it's just like when I'm in a hard spot with
Hmm.
something is
Yeah.
not clicking. I ask them for advice or what would you do or what this look like to
Hmm.
you, and they give me that advice. Like I'll call Blaine Wiley, Matt. Um, I rarely call Coach Henry, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
But I still use his fall training. Like
Hmm.
I use the majority of A&M's fall training.
Hmm.
That's a staple of my work. Coach Anderson, I use a staple of his acceleration stuff.
Hmm.
So like it's a combination of like coaches that I use and just experiences that I had running or seeing around when I was, been running. So
Yeah, I like that. I get concerned when when you first start talking about, well, I really don't talk to a lot of people. I go by gut, and I'm a big believer in gut and intuition as well. So I don't. That's not necessarily, but I do love the humility of like, hey, I do get stuck though.
I
Like
do.
this ain't 100% of the time here. So yeah, so when I do get stuck, because then to me, I'm listening for, well, what do you do then? Do you just, I just pass it up and go back to what I know, or do I call and ask for help? And so
I
you have
call
that
I
humility. Yeah,
call
yeah,
for help. And
that's a
shout
good
out to those
sign.
coaches that don't like these coaches that I call, they give me they give me input. Like some of these
Mhm.
coaches, they just don't want to help the young generation out. Like they want the young generation to fail sometimes, to be honest with you.
No, it may be a little different with you because of your background with
Yeah.
guys like Matt Kane and Pat and Dan and Blaine. I mean, you have like this cadre of people at that level. I wonder, do you get the feeling because you have something that they want, right? You have athletes and really good athletes.
Yeah.
Do you ever get the sense that there's any um, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't think this is the right word. Falsity, insincerity. That's the word. That they're only trying to help you, not these specific people, because I know these people and their character. But
Yeah.
do you ever get the feeling that there's insincerity that people are trying to glom onto you because you have something that you can
So
give them?
I mean, not it like yeah, I get coaches that just call. I'm like, well, I know you calling me. Just
Right? It's like, hey, what's up, buddy? It's like, dude, I don't even know
just
you.
call me because you like, yeah, I get those.
Yeah, yeah,
But no, the people I'm like Benny, I call Benny for workouts as
yeah,
well, for the hurdle stuff. So like
yeah,
I got coaches that's in my pocket that I call, and there's the sincere coaches
yeah,
that yeah, they want my kids, but as saying they call and check up on me. Coach Benny called me
yeah.
probably Wednesday. Coach Blaine texts me probably like almost every other day. Like
Right.
I can't check up on me. Like these coaches that
Yeah.
I reach out to, they
Yeah.
check in. It's not.
They love you for you. Oh, and
Yeah,
yes, you do have athletes, not
yeah.
the other way around. Like, oh, he has athletes, and yeah, he's a good guy. I don't know, but I want his athlete. Right. That's a difference in how you have a relationship with someone, specifically a junior college coach here. Okay.
Tyron Tyron Egner is another one I call a
Who
lot.
I didn't hear that one. Who?
Tyron Egner,
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, good dude. Yeah, I love him.
good guy.
Just saw him this past week. Okay, so you're at New Mexico Junior College, you're doing real well. The women are winning. I mean, it's really quite amazing, actually. And I'm going to call it a pit stop. I'm kind of giving away the story, although you already know because you saw, the title of the podcast today. You saw it's New Mexico Junior College, but you take this pit stop. You go to UNLV. Now, I love UNLV because I used to live in Vegas as a professional poker player, so I do love that school a lot. Why leave? Was it I don't want to call it the dream, I don't want to put the words in your mouth, but was it the goal to coach 4-year Division One? What more money? That's a valid excuse as well. Why leave?
Money was there as well, but that was a hard decision for me because I felt like it was time for me to go because I've done everything I needed to do. To me, I thought my resume was solid. Like I developed, I coached at an elite level. I think I'd done enough in junior college. Like it was nothing for me else to do. I was winning nationals. I was winning coach of the year, and I was like, well, now it's time for me to try to move on. Like I wasn't necessarily looking for the big P5 school. I just wanted another step up to show people that I can still do it. I can still coach. So I really didn't want to leave, but I felt like it was just time for me to go. Like I was living underneath Keith's shadow. Like he was great to me, but like it was time for me to like improve people that like I can coach American athletes as well. Like of course I have American athletes on my roster now, but like everybody thought like I only can coach international.
Yeah, interesting.
And like you only can coach this or that. And I was just like, you know what?
How does that? I'm so fascinated by this. As a guy who didn't recruit internationally much, by the way, not because of choice, I just didn't know. I didn't have a passport. How when you say you felt like you had to prove that you could coach American kids, what is the difference?
The people out, the outside people, the internet people, they discredit like what these JUCO coaches are doing because they're international athletes.
Because they think they're already like when they see a JUCO kid run 45 flat in the quarter mile, they automatically assume, well, they must have been running 45 flat when they came to them. Is that what you're talking about?
They just think like it's just easy. Like
they're just robots just because they're not in America.
Yeah, well, they just discredit. They just like an asterisk on your coaching career.
Really?
Yeah, but then look at the greats that's coaching now. I'm not gonna call no names, but look at the NCAA. They're all international athletes, but they get praised for that. So what's the difference between me coaching a junior college athlete, running the same time?
That's what I can't wrap my head around.
Same respect. I don't get the same. Oh, you're doing a great job, but they're international athletes. But look at Coach X over there. This guy's running the same time my guys are running, but they're doing a great job. Same age, same country, maybe same. Like I don't understand like the difference.
I don't either.
I want to find out what's the difference between me coaching an international athlete than Coach X over there coaching an international athlete because they're a 4-year school. I mean, they got through the embassy. Yeah, they had the grades, but my kid didn't get the grades or didn't have the opportunity. So I don't. It kind of hurts my feelings because I do the same. I'm doing the same that these other coaches are doing. And
I don't get that. That boggles me as well. Because to your point, it's at every level. I was just at Penn Relays and I watched for the first time ever an exciting 4x mile. You never would have heard those words out of my mouth, by the way. A 4x mile, what a terrible relay. But it was really exciting as down on the infield, and they started announcing that this may be the first sub 16. So that's kind of cool. 4 guys running sub 4, right? So I kind of started paying attention to it. And Villanova wins. They win every Penn Relays distance relay. It's amazing. So 3 teams actually ran under 16. And so they announced, the first college team to run under 16, Villanova. That was amazing. But then they said second place, which I think was Georgetown. I hope I don't get that wrong. Becomes the first, becomes the American record in the 4x mile because Villanova must have had, Villanova. I'm sure someone was from Ireland. I think they have a lot of big Ireland connection. But no one's vilifying Villanova because they had Irish kids or Scott or whatever. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so, by the way, that they're not vilifying Villanova. That's hard to say, by the way. So when I was in the SEC, we had a couple of Jamaicans actually, Steve Mullins and those guys. And they were amazing kids. I love them. But I never thought about it. It never struck me oh, Arkansas, I can't believe you're doing that. Or, oh, Florida, I can't believe you have those kids. Or Georgia, you got them from this country. It was just like, oh man, you did a better job. You ran faster than I did, or you jumped
Yeah.
farther. That's amazing to me. So
Yeah.
you actually get this and feel this heat, huh?
To me, yeah, I mean, why I'm not coaching NCAA right now? Like,
Yeah, yeah.
they, oh, you doing a great job, but like, why nobody's taking a chance on me?
So
Like,
you're good enough to coach international kids, but you're not good enough to be on a 4 year and still coach international kids too, by the way.
that's just how I feel. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm overdoing it right now, but
Okay.
that's how I feel. Like, I just
Yeah.
feel like I get that knock because it's international compared to like
Yeah.
I'm doing it with US kids. Maybe they'll come after me then, but
Huh. Okay, so you go to UNLV as a kind of a proving ground kind of
yep.
thing. You did a lot in the JUCO world in a very short amount of time.
Mhm.
How did and we had a new coach, right? So they were transitioning because that plays into the story of the UNLV for you as well. So you had Dorian was a new coach, love him, great guy, love him a lot. Kind
Mhm.
of putting together a whole new staff. You're in Vegas. How'd you like? Because I'm partial to Vegas. I love Vegas. How'd you like Vegas? I don't know. Are you a gambler at all? Like
No, no, I like my money. I like to buy shoes, but no, I love Vegas.
he said, I like my money.
I love my money, man. I just look at my bank account every day. I don't like spending my money on. I don't like gambling. No.
You're
I'm
the
sorry.
right guy to live in Vegas then, because
All
you
right.
won't be tempted.
So no, I barely went to the strip. Only time I went to the strip is just like when I had recruits. But like
Yeah, sure.
I just love the freedom I had, like coming from Hobbs. Like
Yeah.
I was in a box, like I was in a 4x4.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
but then when I went to Vegas, I was in like a 15 by 30. Like, and so it was like freedom to like do what I want to do. Like, hey, I want to go to see this show over here, or hey, I want to go to the shoe gallery over here, or
Right.
like it was just so many things to do that I
So
enjoy.
much to do. So much. I need you to talk to my wife because I want to retire in Vegas. And she thinks the only reason I want to retire in Vegas is because of the poker rooms. And while that certainly is a draw, to your what you just said there's so much to do. The museums, the parks. It's a cool city, man. It really is.
Expensive though, but it's cool.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I went up there and it was fun.
All right. So how did you like that? How did you transition? So now it's 4 year. That is different from junior college. First of all, you take off the plate of trying to get your kids recruited somewhere. You don't that you're half your job just freed up right there. Now you're trying to attract kids to your school and you're coaching the kids that are already there as well.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I inherited a group. I inherited the group that I had there, and right off the bat, like they had tons of respect for me. I never tell my kids who I am. To be honest with you,
Oh yeah,
like
I wondered. They don't know
I mean,
what your PRs are.
like Doran always introduced me as like he's this, he's that, he.
Mm-hmm,
To me, I don't want that. I don't want them to know that. I want them to know that I'm a great coach. And
mm-hmm.
always use me as a reference. Like, hey, coach, when you went to nationals, what did you eat or what did you do the night before? Like, I rather tell them those stories and then, hey, I was a
Mm-hmm.
44 guy. Like, listen to me. I was a 40. No, I want you to listen to me because I'm a great coach. I'm a great advisor.
You're bringing up something I'm kind of gaining from you here. And I've never thought about this with other great athletes. And, you mentioned UNLV, the former head coaches, Yvonne and Larry Wade were on the show as well. Love them, by the way. Great, great people.
Great people. Yeah.
Yeah, great people. Love them. They were I think they were our first married couple. No, second married couple on the podcast to talk about that dynamic of a relationship. So there's other great podcast alums there. But and so I wonder, like I just thought about Larry and other, Jeremy Warner and stuff. It feels like, and I'm gonna use it in the present tense that you are struggling. You correct me here, to our of your identity changing from athlete to coach. Not you struggling internally, like, oh man, I still want to run or run fast, but the external, when people look at you, it feels like you're getting the feeling that people are still looking at you as athlete first,
Yep.
coach second, when you're like, no, dang it, I am Coach Henry. That's
Yeah.
who I am.
Yeah. I want that stigma. Like, yeah,
Mm,
yeah. To me, I thought I had an average career. To me, I could have done way better. But like to other people, there's like, man, you had a great career. Appreciate you a lot. But like, I want people to know me as a great coach. Like that's the first thing I want them to recognize me as. Like, man, you was tough when you ran, but man, you doing a hell of a job coaching. Like, I want that. So I never tell my athletes like who I am. I'll tell them like they'll say something slick to me. I'm like, man, Google me. Like I'll tell them something like that. Like, but I won't tell them like verbatim like what did I do my whole career. And I'll be like, Google me, man. Like put me
Right.
in the internet and show me like look at my resume. Like I'll say something like that
You,
if they ever.
you, you find yourself using examples to your athletes of other former athletes of yours, not personal then? Like you talked about, what did you eat before meets? Like, yeah, when we went to JUCO Nationals, our athletes, we ate the, you trying
Yeah,
to use those examples.
yeah, I use those references instead
Mm-hmm.
of like, what I did in a race or anything like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like
Mm-hmm.
that because they're not they wasn't like my type of athletes. Like they're not. If I tell them, hey, go out there and run 21-2 at the first two, nah, that's not gonna work for them. So I'll
Mm-hmm.
give like step by step on how to run a 400, not how I ran the 400. Just
Right.
lean on them as a coach and it's like how I will run a 400 or what I think you should run this 400 like this. So yeah, I always give them
Right.
little nuggets on like my career,
Yeah.
but I don't know who I am at
Yeah.
all.
I can see where that could be frustrating.
Yeah, never
Mm-hmm.
do. But yeah, went to UNLV and those girls loved me. Those girls bought in right away. Like I had a system and they bought in right away. Like right away. Like I told them I had girls that didn't make no finals at the Mountain West. First day I got on campus, I said, you're gonna be a finalist. You're gonna be a finalist, you're gonna be a finalist, you're gonna score points, you're gonna go to regionals. Like that was my plan. Like I knew what the kids I had, I knew they was all, they was not say damaged goods, but they came from a bad situation, and I came in there. I wanted to change that situation right away.
Mm.
So, that was just my plan, like to get them better. You know,
How did you change, or did you, in regards to recruiting?
oh, recruiting stayed the same.
Okay.
Dorian wanted it the best of the best, and even though it was at UNLV, he wanted me to pull in the top recruits, the top international recruits, and I had Coach Blackbeard resources. All
Right.
the Jamaicans, the African, like I had all his resources, so I was good. Like I didn't struggle recruiting there. Like
Yeah.
you had to vet out the ones that just wanted to come to Vegas.
I
That was
wondered, like my question, I know I asked the Wades this, for UNLV, and really like a USC, UCLA, LA area, and Hawaii. I'm always wondering, like, like, how many people want to take a visit just because you are in Hawaii or just because you're in Las Vegas? Like, how do you vet that out? Especially now that they can take as many visits as they want.
You had to vet those because if the family you will know like the family be like, yeah, when we come on to visit, you could hear them in the background. I'm just going to like those the ones that you don't want to recruit. So like I don't offer a visit right away until
Yeah,
like
yeah,
feel like they really want to come here and not just to come to Vegas
yeah,
because
yeah.
the parents get to come. So you got to vet those out. But we were strong on the international scene. Dorian wanted a lot of Europeans
Hmm.
because he had the module from Florida State, so he wanted to keep that same
Oh,
module.
right, right, right.
And I was presenting him quite a few U.S. kids from California that I thought can develop and run a relay. And
Hmm.
but me and Dorian had a plan, and he agreed with my plan. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it didn't work out. So
I hope one of my kids doesn't become so good that they get recruited by D1, because I'll be that guy in the background going, "Hey man, call up UNLV, get a visit. Let's
yeah,
like, I don't want to go to UNLV. That's cool, but we need to go do a visit."
yeah,
It's like, I got to
yeah.
go to my stomping grounds. Come on. See, I coached in Starkville, so we
Oh,
knew
okay.
a kid was serious when they wanted to come visit Stark.
I've been there. Ain't nothing there. I've been there before.
We knew, so no one was trying to get a free ride to Starkville, baby.
Yeah,
You had to want
yeah,
to come to Stark Vegas.
yeah.
Okay. I talk about the transition. Dorian was a new coach, and so therefore a new staff, because this is one of the real, for me, I don't know if I'm overstating when I say heartbreaking parts of this profession, but when there's a new coaching staff, a coaching turnover on the head coaching side, man, yeah, I've gone through this with so many friends in the coaching industry. If God forbid I get released from Gill tomorrow, boss, if you're listening, don't do that.
Mm,
But there's going to be another sales job in Champaign County, where I'm at here in Illinois. It's not going to be in track, probably, unfortunately, but there'll be other opportunities for me to support my family, right?
mm,
When this happens on the college coaching side, there's almost never, it's a very small geographic place where there's another college for you to then go coach. It usually involves a huge transition to another part of the country, which means your family, your lifestyle, everything gets uprooted. So we have this. So we have UNLV goes through another change. You're back on the market, and you end up in a very familiar area. How in the world does it work out? Are you just, maybe you should be a gambler. It seems pretty lucky. How does the opportunity at Hobbs happen the time that you need it to happen?
Well, like again, the relationship I have with Coach Blackwell, I never burned my bridges when I left. I did it the right way. I called him in the office. I told him I think it's time for me to go, and he had his thoughts, and I had my thoughts, and he didn't like it at first, and then that was like like we didn't speak for about maybe a month, maybe, because he was hurt by me leaving. I was like one son, so but we was good. We talked literally every day. Every day we talked when I was every morning, like I was like a 30 to 35-minute drive to campus. Call them up. We talked on my way to work. We talked on my way back from work. That was just our daily talk. We just talked about everything, like how's his kids, how's the team, how's my team. Like he called me like a dad, and we never like our relationship never changed. Like it was the same old, same old. Like we talk trash to each other, call him a bar, he called me this, whatever. So like we just remained in contact, and I didn't want to go back because like I just felt like I was failing going back to college.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was getting a couple interviews and calls, but it just wasn't like what I wanted. Every job ain't a good job. So like why not go somewhere where I'm appreciated and I'm loved and taken care of? So I went back. Like it was a hard time for me because I did not want to come back. Because to me it felt like I failed. Like oh, I'm running back home to daddy. Like that's what it felt like. And I didn't want that feeling, but I recruited that whole team. So like why not? Like why not go back to what I recruited? That whole team, that men and women's team, I recruited that team. So I was fine going back with familiar people that I knew. It wasn't like I'd inherited kids again. Like I knew those kids. Like I recruited them from the whole summer until I left. So
yeah, I can see psychologically how, because it's going back like back down. It's going back to, junior college versus 4-year, things like that, going back to the place you were at, under the same head coach. It would have been a different thing if it's like, oh, Keith is somewhere else and now you're the head coach or something like that. That would have been a little different. I can see where there can be some psychological battles internal there of like, oh man, did I not succeed? And the reality is it has nothing to do with it, by the way. But
I literally like, I know I'm being genuine. I literally shed tears because I was going back. Like I feel like I failed. Like I'm like, dang, nobody wants me. Like I thought I did a great job with the women I had. Like nobody still saw that. Like so I broke down on the phone with Keith. I'm like, man, I don't want to go back, man. Like Keith taught me, like, what are you talking about? Boy, stop crying. You want to play the game, man. You come back here and beat people. Like, do what you do it. And I was like, I'm like, you right. You right. You know what? I'm gonna go there. Excuse my French. I'm gonna F some people up.
That's
man.
right. That's right.
I'm back. I'm coming back, and I'm on a revenge tour. Like I'm gonna tear people from limb to limb. Like that was just like how he told me I should treat the situation. I'm like, you're right. I'm coming back to just tear people up.
Well, you certainly are doing that. Not knowing all the kids you've coached, and we don't talk X's and O's, so we're not going to get into how you've done this, but you've got at least one, but you've got a couple of, again, I don't want to call them once in a lifetime athletes because first of all, you're a pup. You've got a long time to coach here. You're going to coach many, many great kids and athletes, but you've got some just straight killers right now. You are certainly succeeding on this quote unquote revenge tour, if you will, with some of these kids. And what I love about it is, of course, live my whole life on Twitter, so I see your tweets about them, and you certainly throw some tweets out there of like, hey, new PR of this, etc. But you celebrate the totality of it. It appears like you talk about like, hey, I'm happy for you that you did you're a little bit different on your celebrations of not just the PR time. Like you seem to, maybe this is kind of stuttering on this a little bit. You seem to celebrate the person that
you
runs
got it.
that time and not the time that this
You
person ran.
you got it. A lot of these coaches, they're in it for the wrong reasons. Like they post and brag for the wrong. Like when I post, I make sure it's not about me. Like I have to promote my kids. Like if I don't post anything, then like nobody would know because I'm in junior college. So and plus it's a recruiting, it's a business. So I have to promote my kids. I really don't want to, but like, why not? I have to because I'm in junior college. I have to put my stuff out there. Plus I have the influence on the internet. So like somebody might see something and they might like, hey, I'm my hurdler. I'm not gonna say the name. She's literally 4'10". You don't see a 4'10" hurdler out there.
That's right. Yeah.
She's a little bitty girl, and like the things she's doing, I have to put that out there. But anyway, yeah, I do it for the kids.
Yeah.
Like I ran fast. I know I did all of that, but it's not about me anymore. It's about them. Like when I post stuff, like you caught on to it. Like I post for the kids, not for me. I don't. You never my tweets never say I.
Right.
I did. I always said I'll shout out the kid's name and
Yep.
what they and I keep it pushing. I might say a little story time here and there because those stories have to be heard. Everybody have a story and somebody gotta listen to it. So I post for them, not me. Like I've done it. I look at my bio. I don't need to talk about me anymore. I talk about them. So yeah, you get it. I do this for them. Like anything I do is for them. I just the situation I had at UNLV, like I could have easily given up. But I stuck with the plan. I stuck with them day out. Like I still want to see this thing through. I'm still going to see y'all make finals at the Mountain West Conference. Like that's just who I am. Like I will never give up on my dream, my goals with an athlete. So yeah, that's just me. Like just very loyal and just embedded to the kids and what we do together. That's all I'm embedded to.
Seems like you're carrying on I think legacy is the right word, but the modeling that a Coach Sheldon, a Coach Kane, these guys and coaches that have stuck with you. Like it seems like you're now megaphoning, amplifying that out to your athletes.
Yeah, we stick with our goals, and we just stick to our goals and we just work for it. These kids, I'll write down their goals from day one and it's like, hey, what you want to do? What you want to run? And I was like, all right, I'm gonna hold you to that. I'm real big on accountability. A lot of my athletes don't like that. Like a lot of my kids at UNLV didn't like that. Like I just hold kids accountable, and I'm gonna let you know that you're messing up, in the most political way I can. But accountability is a lost thing now with athletes, I think. Like when I was running, like I held myself accountable. Like I didn't want to let my coach down. Some of these kids, their goals don't align their daily lives. Like they want to do great things, but they don't.
You're fully transitioning into old man mode. I love it.
Yeah.
Gosh, this 20-year-old that I know, he's now these kids these days.
It's just new. Like they say, these new kids are soft. They're a little soft, but coaches have to like change their ways too, as well.
That's right.
To adapt to these kids, and I feel like I can adapt to any situation with these kids. I might say, like, man, these kids soft, man, but I'm like, okay, all right. I figure ways out to like push them to get to what they need to do, but. Yeah, I'm just all about the athletes now.
Yeah, I love that. So when we're recording this, it's early May. So up next is nationals, right?
Yes, sir.
Where at this year?
Monroe, Louisiana.
Oh, that's right. ULM. You love these big cities, man. This is amazing. Monroe, Louisiana.
I read it right here at the house, man. But I'm probably going way down there.
That was a lot of fun. So I did not do this on purpose. So when you were not in Hobbs, I came out to Hobbs for the first time for Junior College Nationals. When you came back, I was like, I'm never going again. I promise it wasn't personal.
I wanted to come to that meet, but we couldn't recruit at the time. I wanted to come and watch.
Yeah, it was good meet. It was really good meet. Keith showed me that. I don't know if it was there before. It's there now, obviously. The that new golf facility. Oh my gosh, dude! It's like, get out of here.
Endless resources here. Yeah.
I wish if you love golf and facilities, you got to go. I assume there's some pictures and maybe video on the NMJC website, but this friggin' golf facility, man, it's unbelievable. It's
Junior college.
a junior college, dude. Give me a break. I love it. I love it. All right, so you're getting ready for nationals to finish it off, and maybe give us an update on maybe your status as it sits today with New Mexico Junior College.
Well, today, my last day will be at nationals. Unfortunately, the school is going in a new direction. They're in the process of hiring new coaches. So no ill will. I appreciate everything they've done for me. They just want to go in a different direction, and I'm comfortable with that. And just wanting everybody to know I'm a free agent, and you getting one of the best junior colleges, one of the best coaches in the country, and I just come with passion and grit and energy and just determination to be one of the best coaches in the country. So that's what you're getting from me. But yeah, nationals probably my last time coaching here at NMJC. Is going to be a lot of emotions there because I think I've done a lot here in the last 5 years. I've been here 4.5, maybe 5. So it's gonna be tough.
It actually is, when we talk about serendipity and chance and luck, it actually is serendipitous that Tabarie is on the podcast now in this situation as a free agent here in the next couple of weeks. And then the timing of him being invited on the podcast, it actually, as much as I love him, I wish I could say, Tabarie, I'm doing this because I want to plug you and help you get a new job. I do want to do that. But he's not on the podcast because of that. It actually, there's a list, and it came up. It just worked out that time wise. I actually wish it was maybe a couple of months down the line, and we're celebrating a new job. To be real frank with you, I'd rather that. But I do. I'll give a reference for Tabarie right here. I think many athletes, and I don't think that this is a negative. A little bit to what Tabarie was saying. The old man get off my lawn. He was transitioning into there. I think when we talk about athletes being soft or selfish, absorb social media, I don't think that's today's athletes. I think that is what 18 to 22-year-olds are. It could be 14 to 18-year-olds. I think that's what teenagers are. They're rebellious. I think that's what college kids are. They're in their own world. I truly believe, and I coached a few, pretty elite level kids. To be an elite athlete, you have to be selfish. You're always trying to figure out what coach is telling you. How does it make you better? That's a very selfish type thing. Coaching is the opposite, by the way. You're learning all this stuff, and now you're giving it to athletes. You're trying to figure out how to help them. So for Tabarie, I always judge somebody like this positively. For Tabarie as a 20-year-old to establish a relationship with a guy like me, Tabarie got 0 out of that relationship. There's no, a 20-year-old Tabarie befriending me was not going to help him become a better quarter miler. He had all the people. We talked about your network. He had all the people surrounding him to do that. I was not able to help him out there. Certainly at 20 years old, you can hear, as far as, career wise, he really didn't have a path at this point. So it's not like, oh man, if I befriend this dude, Mike from Gill, maybe I'll get a job. He wasn't a pole vaulter. So, there's no like, oh, maybe if I befriend Mike, I'll get, free poles. What am I going to do for a quarter miler? Blocks? Well, you already got blocks. You don't need them. You don't carry them around. I didn't do shoes and cloth and all that kind of stuff. I'm not Nike, Adidas, Puma, whatever. So there was 0 in it for Tabarie to befriend a guy like me. And he did, and he was genuine and nice, and didn't, when we were at the meet and you're like, yeah, cool, you're here, stay wherever you are, dude. You're like, hey, where you at, man? I want to, meet you in person. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I have genuine respect for that. There's this kid at DePaul right now, this really good hurdler. He's in the same vein. We met each other for the first time at the University of Illinois meet a couple of weeks ago. I'm just gassing him up because he's, I love that kid.
I like that.
Good kid.
I heard a guy. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, good kid. And I love, I'm a small, even though I coached at Mississippi State, I'm a Troy, JUCO type kid. So I love the non-Texas A&M, no offense, DePaul kid doing it, baby. I love that. So, and there's been a couple other kids. So I'll give a reference to Tabarie that he has been extremely mature from a young age. I don't need to speak on his coaching. Just go look what his athletes do. And this is kind of a new thing. I can't believe after 260 episodes, we've never really talked about this, and I've never heard this term. This whole passport coaching thing, this has to go. There's a lot of xenophobia in that statement. That has to go until they change the rules. Everybody is open
Yeah.
to the world. Okay. You have your rules and your grades and admissions and all those things. We got to get off of that, guys and gals. Come on. All you're doing, coaches need to gaslight other coaches up, and all you're doing is putting down another coach when you say that. We got to
Yeah.
cut that crap out.
I
Got to,
appreciate it.
got to, got
Yeah.
to, got to. So, Tabarie, someone where, this publishes around the end of this month, end of May. Someone's listening to this and someone says, I want to get, I almost called you a kid again. God, Tabarie, I want to give this guy a chance, or, hey, boy, this is exactly what I'm looking for next year. I got a guy that's leaving to go to this school, whatever. There's going to be an opening. Heck, I got my job at Mississippi State because they added a coach to the staff. Not a coach left. They added an extra position. That still happens out there. What's the best way to get a hold of you? What's your maybe Twitter handle, maybe your email? What's the best way? Someone says, oh my God, I want to reach out to Tabarie. How do I do this? What's the best way?
Best way, cell phone, you could call, text 786-473-6960. You can reach me on my socials. I fear God not them on X, Twitter for the old heads.
Yeah, X.
Facebook, just Taj, go by my middle name, Taj J. Henry. Call a friend, ask a friend,
Yeah. Hey, that actually, I love that, because to me that's the better reference. Not calling a friend. I like calling, because what's a friend gonna do? Of course they're gonna gas you up, right? I like calling old coaches though,
Yeah.
because it's like, hey, you saw them at their best and worst, right? And again, you also saw them as a 20-year-old, so that's also different. But now you see them in this light. Tell me
Mhm.
about them. That's the cool stuff. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
I love
I
that.
think that's another. I think a lot of people just remember me from my college days, me running around and just
Yeah,
so like a lot of people probably still scared of me like that. But like you said,
yeah,
man, I was what 15, 18 years ago. Like I'm
yeah.
not that kid anymore with the dreadlocks running around from
Right,
the
right.
hotel. So I'm just now just focused on my athletes and just
Yeah.
focus on being the best coach I can be.
Luckily, people change, and I'm not saying what he was back then was bad. I mean, again, he showed a lot of maturity even at that level. But we do change, we mature, and this is a young man who continues to mature, not only personally growth wise, but his coaching continues to get better. By the way, that's a crazy thing. He's coached great kids, and it continues to get better. So, and you heard the humility, that's an important aspect. So, if you have a job that you think Tabarie would be good at, or something, hit him up. He gave you a cell phone, email. Why I did mean to ask this too. This is kind of a segue. Why is your Twitter handle "I fear God, not them"?
Well, I was a huge Lil Wayne fan, and
Okay.
that's one of his most famous phrases, and then it's just stuck with me.
I love that. Okay.
Just like when I get to the line, like when I was an athlete, like I just never feared anybody,
Okay.
the creator. But like
Yeah, yeah.
before I got in the blocks, I always say that. Like I just fear God, not them.
Yeah, I love that. Okay.
Them is just whoever around. I'm just not fair to no. I'm just fearless. I'm not scared of
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
That was just a phrase of mine I always say when I got in the blocks, and
I love that. Okay.
just I don't fear anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's cool. All right. Tabarie, good luck here in the next couple of weeks. Your athletes they have been doing some special things. I'm sure they'll continue to do special things. For you, my friend, I just want to give you encouragement of shedding off the two things: shedding off the chip on my shoulder. I'm not a big fan of that attitude, to be real frank with you. It's been successful for you. So, you can just let this go right off your back here. Uh, but embrace what you're doing and and you have, I'm not saying you haven't, but embrace what you're doing, the impact you're making wherever you are, to where your 2 feet are. And know that it's less about proving people wrong and proving yourself right. That's what the chip on your shoulder is. It's you know, it's proving other people wrong. They don't affect you,
Mhm.
and by the way, you are where you are today because of those coaches who didn't offer you a full ride back in the day, and those schools that haven't contacted you. And what you are today is amazing, right? So to me, when you hear about like whether it's the athlete or the recording artist that puts all their rejection letters up, and it's like, I'm gonna
Mhm.
prove all them wrong. It's like, man, by them saying no to you is where you are today. And unless you think where you're at today is bad, like you're a bad person, you're in a bad situation, which that's clearly not the case here. That's what you're like proving that by saying that. So shed that and continue to grow in that positivity of who you are and what you're doing today. And then I just want to encourage you and bless you on this transition from Tabarie the athlete, to Coach Henry. You know, you're continuing to do it. And I just want to, for people and athletes and coaches and administrators to see who you are today. You have become Coach Henry, and that is special. And you're doing special things. You're affecting kids' lives. You've got a couple kids that will eventually run in the world champs and stuff like that, but you got a lot more kids that are going to go on to be amazing business owners, clergy, parents, because of the positive influence that you're making on them as Coach Henry, not because you ran 45 seconds, my friend. So I just want to bless you with that, encourage you, and just love on you for what you've become and what you're going to continue to do. You're so young in this coaching game. You still got decades, brother. You're going to do so many more amazing things, and just look back at this time. I know it's hard to right now in the moment, but you're going to look back at this moment and just laugh and be like, oh man, I was worried about that. Psh, what a joke. Cause I've gone on to do all these things. So just want to encourage you with that, my friend.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. Appreciate the love, man. You always, like I said, beginning of this interview, you always show me love no matter what I was doing. You always was checking in and seeing how I'm doing. Every school I went to, hey, I got blocks. Hey, let your head coach know I got this and that for you. Just hit me up. So you always was supporting no matter what.
Yeah, you deserve it, my friend. I saw it early, and you gave me the respect. I didn't have to earn your respect. You gave me respect. And that's what I always have a high, like I'll always give people respect first, and then they prove that they don't deserve it. You never have to earn respect from me. So you did that in return to me. You're automatically like, all right, man, you must be a cool guy. So let's, until you prove otherwise, Mike, we'll be cool. And I think that's just this level of maturity for a 20-year-old, for crying out loud. That's amazing. So all right, my friend, we're past our time. Tabarie, thank you so much. I really do appreciate you. I know you are busy, even though you're on Hobbs. It's not like you're hobbling around, but you are busy. You've got a big transition coming up. And, as always, I'll be here for you for anything that I can do to help you. But someone is going to get a great coach, not a great passport. I cannot believe that. Expect a couple of tweets coming out about this, by the way, because that is ridiculous to me. Someone's going to get a great coach, a great person, and a great member of the community with Tabarie, no matter where he ends up. Something tells me it's going to continue to be a great place because he's going to make it that way. So thank you so much, Tabarie. Appreciate you being here today, man. Again, truly grateful for your time. Thank you guys and gals for listening. Really do appreciate it. I'm sure by now we'll know the JUCO results. We'll have to figure out how he and the guys did there. I'm sure pretty well, because they're doing pretty well. So thank you again for being here. Come back next week. We'll do it all over again. Have a great week, everybody.